At first, everything about Shaunie O'Neal and Pastor Keion Henderson's relationship seemed like it came straight out of a fairy tale. Shaunie, who built her name as the boss behind one of reality TV's most popular shows, and Keion, a preacher with charm and a huge following, looked like a perfect match. Together, they formed what many called a power couple. Their wedding in Anguilla was nothing short of magical, the kind of event people dream about. The ocean sparkled in the background, famous guests arrived in designer outfits, and the entire scene felt like it belonged in a movie. Everyone loved the idea of two people from different worlds, one from the spotlight of television, the other from the world of faith, coming together in what appeared to be destiny. But as we all know, what looks perfect on the surface can sometimes hide what's really happening underneath. That's exactly what was going on with Shaunie and Keion. In pictures, they smiled. In public, they seemed solid. But behind the scenes, cracks were starting to form, the kind that aren't easy to see at first. Shaunie had already built an empire long before she met Keion. She wasn't just someone's partner, she was a businesswoman, a producer, a brand, a mother, and someone who knew how to handle the highs and lows of life in the public eye. She had been through failed relationships before and came out stronger. But this time, something felt different. Keion had an energy that drew people in. His words could move a room, and his ambition was clear. He had the rare ability to deliver a sermon that could touch hearts and then go viral online. It felt like he blended faith with modern style in a way that made people believe they could take on the world together. At least, that's how it seemed at first. It didn't take long before things started to shift. And it wasn't dramatic at first. It started small, so small that most people wouldn't have noticed. Shaunie began showing up at fewer church events. Then, her social media posts slowly changed. The captions that once said, "We started saying me," photos that once showed the happy couple now featured Shaunie at business meetings or out with friends, or sometimes not at all. Many thought it was harmless. Maybe she was busy or focusing on her work. But these little signs started stacking up. Then came a moment that changed everything. In August 2024, Keion made a surprising move. He asked his church members to donate $21,000 each to help reach a $4 million goal. The request wasn't for an emergency or to help people in need after a disaster. No, it was for the church's vision, a term that left many confused. Some saw it as bold, others saw it as unreasonable. And people outside the church didn't hold back. They called it what it looked like to them, a greedy move. And where was Shaunie during all this? Silent. She didn't stand by his side or offer a statement of support. She didn't defend him at all. That silence was louder than any speech. People who knew Shaunie knew one thing: she never did anything without thinking it through. So when she started stepping back, people began asking, "What's going on?" Insiders later revealed that Shaunie had been pulling away long before the donation request caused public backlash. They said she had been quietly preparing for her exit. It wasn't just about money. It was about trusting her instincts. Something about the person Keion showed the world didn't match what she saw when the cameras were off. His words inspired crowds, but behind closed doors, perhaps Shaunie saw something else, something that told her this wasn't what she signed up for. Shaunie didn't break down. She didn't put on a show. She acted with strength. When she filed for divorce, she did it quietly. There was no dramatic statement, no cryptic posts, no messy public battle. She filled out the paperwork and let that action speak for itself. For someone so used to the spotlight, her silence sent shockwaves. One day, she was the pastor's wife. The next, she was reclaiming her name and her peace. Of course, the internet had its theories. Some said she left because of the money issue. Others thought maybe he had betrayed her in a personal way. But the people who truly knew Shaunie understood this wasn't about money or gossip. It was about protecting herself, her family, and her future. This wasn't a woman falling apart. This was a woman saving herself. Keion, on the other hand, kept going as if nothing had changed. He kept preaching, kept appearing in front of crowds, and his messages began to focus on being tested by faith and people leaving your life. He never said her name, but the meaning was clear. He was trying to control the story, trying to make it seem like he was the one being wronged. But as Shaunie quietly moved forward, more and more cracks appeared in Keion's world. Longtime church members who once stood by him began to speak out not loudly, but in private ways. They left comments on hidden blogs, sent messages to gossip pages, and talked quietly in group chats. Some claimed they had seen proof of his emotional affairs. Others shared screenshots or whispered about secrets. There was no hard proof, but the stories kept adding up. Then came something that changed the mood completely: a leaked audio recording of Shaunie. The sound was low quality, but her pain was clear. She didn't scream or point fingers. She spoke from a place of hurt. She talked about lies, broken trust, and feeling like she had been played. This wasn't for the world to see. It wasn't meant for headlines, but it spread quietly among the right people, the people who needed to hear it. And it shifted the story. Shaunie wasn't just someone who left. She was someone who had no choice. After the divorce, Shaunie thrived. She signed new deals, appeared at events, and seemed to shine in a way no one had seen in years. Her glow came not from makeup, but from peace. The cameras caught her walking through Los Angeles, head held high, no entourage, no Keion. She didn't look like someone needing to be rescued. She looked like someone who saved herself. Meanwhile, Keion's messages started sounding more defensive. His sermons weren't inspiring anymore. They felt like damage control. He spoke about betrayal, about people turning against him, about being misunderstood. The crowd didn't respond the same way. The energy had changed. The church felt emptier, not just in numbers, but in spirit. And this is the thing: when your words don't match your actions, people notice. The power he once had over the room was fading. Shaunie became the main focus. Keion became the question mark. The love story people thought they saw wasn't the real story. The real story was about legacy, and Shaunie was protecting hers. As more time passed, people started asking hard questions about Keion's church. What happened to all that donation money? Was there ever a real $4 million project? Or had people been tricked? A former church member even made a video exposing what they claimed were secrets about Keion. The video went viral. Suddenly, what had once been quiet gossip became public knowledge. Through all of this, Shaunie stayed silent. No interviews, no comments, just soft posts about peace and moving forward. Her success spoke louder than any words. She wasn't just rebuilding, she was thriving. Keion, in contrast, kept trying to shift attention. Every time she posted a win, he posted something about being judged or misunderstood. But by then, the damage was done. People had seen enough. And the best part? Shaunie never played the victim. She didn't go on TV to cry or sell her side of the story. She didn't name names or look for sympathy. She showed strength by letting the truth come out on its own. That kind of power comes from knowing your worth, from knowing you don't need anyone's approval to move forward. Meanwhile, Keion struggled. His platform still existed, but it had lost its shine. People watched him now with doubt, not admiration. His sermons spoke of storms, but the light was missing. Some followers stayed loyal. Others walked away, and many simply went silent. Looking back, it became clear this was never about money, fame, or even marriage. It was about being truly seen, heard, and respected. Shaunie once said in an old interview, "If I marry again, it will be to someone who sees me for who I am, not just the image." That one line says it all. This wasn't the end of a love story. It was the beginning of her true freedom. Today, Shaunie continues to rise. Not because she found someone new, but because she found herself again. Keion's world keeps spinning, but people are watching with caution, not excitement. His words don't hit the same anymore, and his image is no longer untouchable. In the end, this wasn't just a breakup. It was a reminder that no matter how perfect things may look, the truth always finds its way to the surface, and the one who walks away in peace. That's the real winner. So, in the end, this wasn't just a story about a marriage falling apart. It was about a woman who realized her worth and chose peace over appearances. Shaunie O'Neal showed the world that you don't need to fight loud battles to win. Sometimes, The most powerful thing you can do is walk away quietly and rebuild your life on your own terms. While people kept guessing, spreading rumors, and trying to figure out what went wrong, Shaunie focused on her future. She didn't play the victim. She didn't go online looking for sympathy. She let her actions speak, and that's what left the biggest impact. On the other hand, Keion kept talking about storms and betrayal, but the energy around him changed. The same people who once cheered him on started to question his words. The story became less about the couple and more about the lessons we can all learn about trust, respect, and staying true to yourself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real stories and lessons behind the headlines. And remember, peace always looks good on you.